No, I'm asking you in what context. Right, you did, because it's on YouTube.
Is that Milo? Is that Milo there?
Is it? Where?
Which one is Milo of those two? The one on the right?
None of it.
None of it.
Milo's just in Milo.
Is that Milo there?
But, Ali.
I don't take selfies with females usually.
You're not allowed to. Put this on. Put this on.
Respect.
Did you just say? What did you say?
I don't take pictures.
Right. What country are you in? You've got to abide by our rules.
So are you going to put a gun to my head to take a picture with a
No.
female?
You abide by our rules.
That's my,
If you want a
no,
woman-
excuse me. I have a right to deny it.
Because no, listen.
Okay, you guys should go take a picture and some children. Why should you?
We've been a second citizen for you.
No,
They are.
come
I
on.
take British law in this land.
That's not my aim
No,
at all.
I'm just asking.
No, that's not my aim at all. No.
So what do you believe some
Yeah,
elements?
Sharia law. No, Sharia law. You have to understand what it means. For me, Sharia
It's
law.
about your life and how you live.
Sharia law is the Quran and the Sunnah, basically the Hadith of the Prophet. So for me, that's an individual endeavor. Yeah, if there's a majority Muslim nation which is at the top level and at the bottom level to implement Sharia is for Muslim people. It's not for non-Muslim people. So we're living in England. England's got 66 million population, the vast majority of which are not Muslim. Only 4.8% of the population is Muslim.
Well, they say it's 6%, but I think those figures are lighter. It's more than 6%. But what I'm saying to you, right?
UK,
What country are your parents from? Egypt, right? So how would you feel if in Egypt you were living in Egypt,
yeah, and then
your government
we've been colonized for many hundreds of years by the British, actually.
started importing.
So we know how it feels.
So this is revenge, basically.
No,
Is this what you're saying?
I've said to you,
No, but I'm asking
I don't
you.
want it. Look, I've said to you, Sharia is only applicable for Muslims. It's not applicable for non-Muslims.
But then in Andalusia they had to live under Sharia law, didn't they? And they had to pay the jizya, so they were living under Sharia.
Andalusia was a Muslim majority country at that point in time.
That you'd taken from the Spanish.
Yeah, and the Spanish took it back.
But like with Jerusalem
also,
as well in
yeah,
Israel. Palestine is an illegitimate state.
There was crusades.
Yeah, which were a reaction to
1095.
500 years of Islamic. What was it? Pope
hold on.
Urban issued the first crusade in 1095. The race completely alien to God has overtaken the holy cities.
Right.
Islam has been
Let me ask you
responsible.
a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. What do you know of Islam?
What do I know of Islam?
Yeah.
I'd say I know a bit. I don't know
Tell me,
vast amounts.
what is the basic tenets of Islam? What is the basics of
The
Islam?
five pillars of Islam. You believe in one God and you believe that Muhammad's the final messenger.
Okay, that's one of those pillars. So you have to try
You
that.
believe
What
in
else?
charity.
Okay, what is it called?
Zakat.
Excellent. Now what else? You got two.
We're struggling here a bit.
That's
made
fine,
myself
that's
look
fine.
Stupid. So zakat.
Yeah.
You've got halal. No, that wouldn't class as it. No, so perhaps I don't know the rest
All
of the
right.
three.
So, what's your name? Sorry.
James.
James, listen, I'm not here to try and catch you out.
Yeah.
I'm just here to try and educate you. Because at the end of the day, look, you wouldn't disagree with me that I probably know a little bit more about Islam than you do.
Well, I'd hope so, because it's your religion.
Right, exactly, right? So what I'm
I
saying,
don't know. I was born a Roman Catholic.
Excellent.
Most Roman Catholics don't know
I'm
shit
saying
about
that
their
the
religion.
most important thing to build barriers, to build bridges of communication is for you to understand. You need to be, I'm not saying this in any kind of patronizing way, but you need to be educated because you only know 2 or 5 pillars of Islam.
But what I've seen of Islam, what I've seen of my country and the effects that Islam in general has had on the world.
Yes,
I mean, look at what the Palestinians
but
are doing to the Israelis.
But
It's
do you know,
disgusting.
can I say you something? Sorry, James, was it James, yeah? James, what you're doing here, this is a fallacy, a logical fallacy, because what you're doing is you're taking a social extrapolation, what happens in society, and you're reducing it to one factor, which is in this case, Islam. But as we've discovered, you don't know enough about Islam to be able to make the links.
Okay.
Am I allowed to quote from the Quran in an Islamic country? No, I'm not.
But if you look,
No, it's an offence
I mean,
in Islam
you've had
for
several.
an unbeliever.
To quote.
Yeah.
Maybe
So it's
I think
allow them.
Malaysia had
You
some,
can quote from their book. Do not allow them to quote from
but
your
that's
book.
not right. That's not, there's nothing in the Quran or Sunnah that says
Can you
that.
tell me what countries have actually benefited from Sharia law?
Not one of
course I
them.
can.
There's not one prosperous
so
Arab
if
country
you
in
know
the world.
anything about
There's
history,
not
my friend, you'll know that there was the European, what's referred to in history as the European Dark Ages. At the same time, you had the Abbasid Empire, which was at that time, most of the scientific knowledge was transferred to the European countries. Now, the Renaissance, which started about 1485, which is also the early modern period, was literally taking and borrowing from the Arabs, in order to further a civilization. Now, I agree that there were a series of decisions that were made by Muslim countries from the early modern period onwards that were problematic for themselves and for others. And that's why we're facing some issues. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is that there is a difference between Muslims and Islam. You have to have a longitudinal as well as a holistic approach when you're looking at extrapolating from history. You can't just take one snapshot or some phenomena that are taking place and then make a case from that.
Let's take it back then, right?
I'm saying, but you still haven't really answered what country now in this day and age.
There's not one prosperous Islamic country in the whole world. That's why they're all coming here.
Prosperous ones, but not.
So are you talking about? That's a very good question, but it needs to be now reduced. Are you talking about economic prosperity? Are you talking about social prosperity? Are you talking about educational prosperity? What are we talking about?
Certainly economically, I mean, look at somewhere like Saudi Arabia, which is, I find disgusting. But they're doing very well economically.
Give them a high five, they've just let women drive. It's
I mean,
2018
wow,
and they've just let women drive.
Right,
like
now,
100
again,
years of development here, they just started to drive
with
there.
their policy not to let women drive. You know why? Because the Prophet's wives used to ride camels and horses. There was no restriction from a Quranic or Islamic perspective that would otherwise stop women from driving. Now, your assumption is that now a country of 29 million people, or 29 million over 1.7 or 1.8 billion individuals, that we should take as the be all and end all of what represents Islam. I say that's a false analogy. So what if they
still
let
looking
women
for a
drive?
country though.
But you're not asking the question
Actually
properly. Are you talking about economics?
Can I just say this?
Well,
last bit?
economics, certainly there are countries that have done very well
He was
economically.
asking, yeah.
There are ones that have done very well economically,
Yes,
but at
okay.
the expense of, I mean, look at human rights. I mean, the very thing that we're talking about here today is exactly what Saudi Arabia
Alright, would
doesn't
you
have.
accept that also the West has been
Write your comments, what you
has
want
been
me
the
to ask
master
him
of
and
or
I'll
the
ask him.
perpetrators of human rights abuses? I would say from with the pre-Napoleonic Wars. Do you know what I would put it to? The Age of Discovery onwards, from around the same period of time we talked about, the West has been at the fore of imperial and empire expansion, and that has had the catastrophic effect.
I
and
thought
put
the
most
empire
people.
was great personally. I mean, my own family were involved with the
No
East
problem.
India
I
Company.
haven't got a problem. There are views on the empire and all these things. I'm not saying that it was all bad. But what I'm saying to you is, what you have to understand is that when you talk about human rights, what exactly are we talking about? Are we talking about slavery because that happens more and has happened more in the West than any other place in the world?
No, slavery. Slavery.
Wait, we're missing one crucial thing. You're
Well,
talking
what
about
we can talk
slavery.
about, yeah.
What's going on in Libya at the moment? Christians are being held by Muslims
Yeah.
as slaves. Now, you said to me, why don't I like Islam? And I'm going to tell
Well,
you.
I'll tell you.
No, can let me speak?
Of
Please
course,
let me
of
get
course,
this,
of
because I've
course.
watched you on YouTube for months, and I've seen the way you talk to people,
Yeah.
and it winds me up. You follow a primitive of belief systems.
So,
You
okay,
follow
that's genetic fallacy.
no, but you
Genetic
follow a
fallacy.
you follow a belief system.
What's a primitive
but
belief
you-
system to you?
Well, look at Islam.
No, but what does it mean?
Primitive.
What's
Stone
primitive?
Age belongs to the
Stone
7th
Age.
century.
Talking of
Seven-
stones, yeah, stoning women to death.
Stone
That's
Age
one.
preceded the 7th century,
Please
by the
just
way.
let me
Yes,
finish.
yes, of course.
I'm against Islam because I'm sick of Muslim grooming gangs. I'm sick of Islamic terrorist attacks in this country. I believe in. It's hard because
Yes.
what was the
say what you're
statistic
saying.
that came
Yes,
out?
yes, go ahead.
54% of British Muslims wouldn't report another Muslim to the British authorities. So we've got a huge problem in this country.
All right.
And how are we ever going to tackle it
Yeah,
and
you're
address
right.
it when people
James.
like me speak out about Islam and I get, oh, you're a fascist, you're
No,
a racist,
fair
you're
enough.
a Nazi.
What you're saying there, I say, look, I want to give him credit because what you said there, I believe, has a lot of merit, and we should not overlook the points that he made. There is a problem, you could say, with grooming gangs. I've looked into the statistics. Some of them are skewed. Others would definitely suggest that there's a disproportionate Asian influence.
84 to 90%
Well, there's
of
different-
men, of men
Yes,
are
yes.
Muslim.
But here-
predominantly
of
the victims are white or black. They're not targeting Muslim children,
No, no,
and they
and the-
should be
no, but-
tried for racial hate crimes.
And
If
the
it
white
was a white
paedophile-
man, no, please let me
Yes,
finish.
of course,
If it was groups of white men going
Yes.
out raping Muslim
Well,
kids,
actually,
you'd be
okay.
burning the streets
James,
down.
can I say something? Make a point because you've made a very impassioned case. But I want to counter it by saying, in 2014,
Yeah.
there was an act passed in Parliament called the Modern Slavery Act.
Okay.
Every year from that year, they've been collating data as to how much human trafficking has been happening, who are the victims, and who are the perpetrators. And what we can find is that of the top 10 countries of which people are being trafficked, 5 of them are Muslim majority countries, including Afghanistan, Albania, Nigeria, which is half Muslim, etc. Now, what the point is here, the perpetrators of that kind of modern slavery or otherwise known as human trafficking are actually white men. But here, grooming gangs,
What's
a
happening
majority.
in Libya then?
Hold on. Before we talk about Libya, which we're both against, what's happening there, let's talk about what's happening in our backyard. So I'm saying to you that if you really have a problem with grooming, I believe, in my personal opinion, human trafficking is a heavier problem, is a bigger problem. You know why? Because people are being enslaved in our backyard and we're not hearing about it. So who's doing the enslaving and who's doing the trafficking? What happens when we realize that it's white men doing the enslaving and the trafficking? So I would say, look, I'm not making this a racial issue. It's
No,
not a
but it
racial
should be
issue.
a racial
always
issue.
try and
No,
bring it
because
back
they're
to-
targeted. Look, right? Like
Okay,
I said
fine.
before, if
Not
it was
all
groups
Muslims
of,
are
no, they're not.
But you understand the point? I'm saying
I
that
understand.
just because, right? It's majority white men that are doing it. It doesn't mean now we're gonna say, yeah, that okay, there's a white problem, and that's what you need to adopt. That same.
That's
that
if
same-
you
it's not
accept
groups
that it
of
is
white-
majority white
Do you
men
see what I'm
doing
saying?
it,
Yes.
I don't accept that.
Well,
And if you
Polaris,
look
for
at-
example, Polaris, which is a study in America, yeah, when it talks about human trafficking in America, they concluded that the majority of people that are actually trafficking, ethnic minorities, happen to be white American men. The same thing applies, the same statistic applies to, in Europe. Look at the data that the Parliament has actually put forward. 2014, up until this day, they've had the Modern Slavery Act, and after that, they've been commissioning data every year to see what the statistics are. And the victims of that are always ethnic minorities. But why do we not talk about it?
But every time slavery is talked about, it becomes white on black issue, on coloured issue. Whereas it goes back,
not every time. I think
everyone's
that's a
done
bit
it.
of a-
Everyone's done it through history.
I
Even
agree with
even
this,
the
but I'm
North
talking
African
about- yes.
North African Barbarians were
Yes, of
taking
course,
white
of
people
course.
from Cornwall.
I'm not denying
before
that.
we had
I'm
the
not denying
industry
that.
in
But what I'm
slavery.
saying is today, we're talking about British policies that potentially we can change and we have a voice to change. So why are we talking about Libya, which we know doesn't even have a stable government, has ISIS has taken over? We both against it. It's a bit of a waste of time. We don't agree with them. We're on your side on that one. Is it right? Yeah?
But still, I can't.
Right?
I can't accept all your facts there, but it's good to talk.
No, it's good to always like absorb. I've absorbed what you said. I hope you absorb what I've said.
Well,
and then you can
that's
think
really
about it.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, guys, our freedom of speech right now, we are not allowed in. Yeah. So the thing is, look, hold on. Kaylen. I'll wait 1 second for you. Kaylen, George, and Lucy told me that I can come here today to do something. Are you speaking? No, listen.
Are you speaking today?
I'm supposed to.
You're going to do some free speech first?
Yeah, I'm trying to. They allow me.
Good luck. The one who let the fucking NUJ in.
Okay. So why they saying to me I'm not allowed?
10 past 3, you ready?
I understand both sides of every argument. And thank you for speaking to me. I've watched you on YouTube for a while, I have to say. No, but you are quite intimidating.
When you meet someone in person, I bet you change your perspective a bit of him, yeah?
Yeah, because I didn't think he'd have a conversation with me. I thought he'd just look at me and tell me to fuck off. Same to you, you've spoke to me and that's it. I've got, like I said, I've got my partner, her dad was Muslim. I've worked with 10 to 15 Muslims. Some of them are alright, some of them aren't. There's a few Wahhabis from Iraq that came over and their views are a bit funny, but